was in that meeting that somebody came up with the idea to try to have Advent services. And then we dealt with Holy Trinity and got that arranged and so on. It was a Sunday evening, December 6th, 2009, probably 7 o'clock, I don't remember that, but we had agreed to lead the service with Cedric preaching, and I was going to be the liturgist.
We were wondering what was going to be the response, and it was overwhelming. That church was packed. Now, they can only hold 100 people.
That's what the priest of the Episcopal Trinity kept telling us. We can seat 100, we can seat 100.
And
I figured about 110. Somebody said 108.
Okay.
Every seat was filled. We had people setting up chairs across the front.
Right.
And
I found it really a moving experience. I sensed the power of God's Spirit at work there. It was one of the most moving experiences I've had in my life.
When they offered the idea of starting our own church, I thought, great, we can be together. We can do this. And it was scary because we didn't have any policies. Word of Peace was handling our offerings. And but we had support.
Yeah, it was interesting how we grew too. I mean, it became like everybody, all hands on deck, everybody helped with setting things up when we moved to Lincoln Elementary, and people were building the altar and everything.
And we sat in the lunchroom and we were waiting for Dalzells to come and bring the altar. And when they carried it in, it was very emotional. And that they had made this by hand. Howie and his son Darren. And I think Blake helped. He was little, but I think he helped. Yeah, that was a lot. It was powered by love, right? Our Powered by Love campaign. And a big part of that was changing our sanctuary. And the altar and the lectern, we needed to change that a little bit to fit in with what the sanctuary was going to look like. But it was really important that we kept the basic, the tabletop part of that altar is still what Howie and Darren put together. Restained and a different look, but it's the same.
And I mean, we started right out with a commitment to youth and children before we had anything really much to claim as our own. We hired a director of children, youth, and family ministry. And so that was part of our commitment from day one.
It was interesting. I always kind of jokingly said if we didn't show up, there was no youth group at all. Well, other than the Dalzells, it was, we had half and they had the other half.
And now to come together and to be forming something new that has some real vitality and excitement to it. And even though a lot of us were getting to be senior citizens, it still had that enthusiasm and that sense of spark that was really meaningful.
Yeah, somebody visited one of the early days and looked around and said, I thought this was going to be a bunch of young rebels. I said, no, we're a bunch of old rebels, And
so we felt that. And having Pastor Cindy as our first pastor was perfect. She preached grace and mercy, and we hadn't heard that for a while.
People were super welcoming. Larry Cook was obviously the one that welcomed us the most when we first came to church, but I mean, it was an interesting atmosphere, like not what we had been used to. I think growing up like in more of a traditional church.
It was welcoming, hence we're still here. So, 15 years later?
Yeah.
So.
we had people early on, Carol Vikstrom and Diana Schonsberg were two of the leaders who wanted us to be a Reconciling in Christ church. And they were promoting this at the very early on, when I remember it was when we were over in Unit 5. And I remember a conversation with Carol, and I was being Mr. Cautious, and I thought, God, you know, with all the stuff we have to deal with now, do we really want to take on that issue, which, not knowing how it would go, it could have been kind of a hot button thing in the congregation. We sure as heck didn't need that. I said, boy, I don't know if we've really got the energy to tackle that or take that on right now. And Carol said, well, some of us have the energy. And I'm so glad I shut up and let her go for it, because that's another thing I'm proud of Elk River Lutheran Church. We're known as an RIC congregation.
I was pretty involved at the beginning, but always worried, are we going to make it? And so we had some ups and downs. I had some disappointments, but I felt I needed to stay. There was something that just drew me to stay. And now I feel, with the leadership of Pastor Nathan and Pastor Ann, we are going to make it. We're going to make it. Changes are always happening, but we have such a solid foundation, and that's good. That feels good.